Here's another thing that may actually be helpful, and that's text wrapping. Now, at this particular point, I've copied some information and put it into B3. So if I actually were to select C3, you'll notice there's no content whatsoever. But if I click on B3, you'll notice all the content is there. In an earlier video, I explained that when you enter text into a cell, it automatically will go into a linear pattern. In other words, it goes horizontally. And it just goes on and on and on until you stop typing. So here we have a conundrum. If I type information into C, which I'm going to do right now, you'll notice that all of this content will disappear. So let's just type in, let's put a number in just for kicks. So we'll put in 100, 1000, how's that? So I typed in 1000, I'm going to press tab to accept the value in the cell. And you notice, whoops, it's all gone. Where'd it go? Well, in this case, if I click on B3, it's still there. According to what should be in that cell, it's still there. So this formula bar is telling me it's still there. However, when I click in C3, I don't see it. So here's what we can do, even though the cell still contains the information. And if I make the cell a little bit larger, well, you notice, as I said before, when it comes to text, it always starts on the left-hand side at the very bottom. And that doesn't help a lot because we have a lot of content here. So what I can do is wrap the text within the cell. So I'm going to right-click on it. I'm going to come down here to format the cell. And there are several ways of doing this. We're just going to approach it from this angle to begin with. And there's a little checkbox here under alignment. Now remember, there are two conditions in a cell. One where you have an insertion point, which you will not have this available to you, and the other where you are just dealing with the content of the cell itself. So we want this part of it. We're going to put a check mark in, wrapping text. I'm going to click OK. And now the text has been wrapped, line after line after line. So to see it more clearly, I'm going to have to make some adjustments to the cell. So I'm going to do that from over here, and yet I could have done it from the same position, same location in that dialog box. Here I'm going to change the row height. And now I can see, wow, it really is going to be a deep row. And that's not such a great thing. So I'm going to also make this column width a little wider as well. In fact, I'm just going to drag it a little bit and make it larger. And I'm going to resize this because I don't like what it's done here to the column. There you go. So now I have this cell, and the cell itself is now much larger, but the text is wrapped from one line to the next line according to the size of the actual cell itself. So here's a great way of actually putting in notes or things of that nature. There are better ways of doing this, and we will discuss this in a later video. But for the time being, when you have to wrap text that's quite long or quite large inside of a cell, this is one approach to it, which is text wrapping.